Good morning, good life. You're listening to Detail Therapy, episode 64. It's no secret that we constantly call into question who we truly are. We argue with ourselves about it all the time. When you stand up for yourself, then someone calls you a name. You think, did I go too far? When you can't decide what you're passionate about. When you hope you're making the right next move, but worry about your potential regret. We question who we are because if we were truly unafraid of being that person, all of this stuff would just work itself out, right? We just want to be agreeable and likable to all, right? Maybe not. What does it mean to be unapologetically yourself? Today, I want to talk about a little method that has helped me to realize who that person is for me and embracing her fully, while also being able to have the practical mantras on the day-to-day that help me to execute on it.
She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail.
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Don't you just love it when people say, do you, or be yourself, everyone else is taken? It sounds all well and good, but when you haven't had an immediate culture around you to facilitate those feelings of genuine hope that you will lean into who you are and just be it, it can be hard to actually do. Because sure, I'm supposed to be myself, but that same person telling me that might also say that I should do what I'm told and watch for social cues, read the room, and know my audience. Can you really do all at once? Today, we're going to get into the details about a very simple exercise that will help you find yourself and what you stand for. That will also help when you're trying to balance outside expectations with the ones you have for yourself. Before we get into all of that, for those of you who are new to the show, my name is Amy Landino, and I will be your host. You can think of me as your number one productive lifestyle coach. I'm the director and founder of Gatlu House, a media company dedicated to helping you go after the life you want. In addition to this podcast, we produce the award-winning YouTube series AMYTV, of which I'm also the host. I've authored 2 best-selling books, including Good Morning, Good Life, which is now available on Amazon and Kindle and Audible and all that fun stuff. Links to everything I mentioned will be in the show notes at detailspodcast.com. So how do you become unapologetically yourself? I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Because we're talking about balancing between, ooh, what are people going to think? Ooh, I want people to think about me. I want to be likable. I need to be unapologetically myself. Unapologetic means we're not apologetic about who we are, and we're not going to compromise that. But it doesn't mean that we can't do that by also embracing what it means to be a helpful person to other people in the world. It can be really hard to step into that, though, especially if you had maybe a parent at home who did not empower you to learn more about who you are and be that person, or you always felt like you were trying to get into the in crowd and you felt like you had to be somebody else in order to do that, or you scroll your social media and you think, how do I become like this, or how do I do that? That's not a conversation about being unapologetically yourself. It's a conversation about taking someone else's life and turning it into your own. To be unapologetically ourselves, we need the reminders that will be helpful to us because we don't always have that support around us that's going to encourage us to own who we are. So we have to be able to easily do it for ourselves because it's going to be hard every step of the way. But if we have these things that make it easy to remind ourselves that it is okay to do you, baby boo, then that will help us every day, every single day when it feels too difficult. What this comes down to is having some confidence. If there is anything in this world that people are asking for, it is more confidence, it is more self-esteem, it's more time, but a lot of times we get more time from being more confident. And we're looking for outside sources to offer us the ability to take that confidence and own it. But there is not one person on earth, the most powerful person in the world, not even them, not even the most powerful being that isn't mortal, not even them. They can't give you the permission that you need to be confident about yourself. It is something that you need to find yourself. You need to earn yourself. You need to gift to yourself. And it's not going to come in all things, in all shapes, and all sizes at all in one time. It is going to happen in pieces and parts, and you pick it up along the way as you go through life and as you own different areas of who you are and what you stand for. That's a whole lot of responsibility, right? Like, let's break it down, Amy. Come on. I mean, geez, thanks so much for giving me permission to get it for myself, but where are we going to find it? I have found that there is one really, really cool practice that helped me to get in touch with who I am and what is important to me so that I will remember it regularly, even when the rest of the world is making me question it. It's okay to question yourself. It is okay to challenge your previous beliefs, but it is not okay to question it constantly. You know in your gut what the deal is. So you need that reminder. Now, this is all inspiration from somebody special I've talked about many times in all of the things that I have created. And her name is Gretchen Rubin. She's one of my favorite digital mentors. And you might know that her big best-selling book, the first one, I should say, her really big bestseller was called The Happiness Project. Huge fan of that book, bigger fan of some of the other work that she did after because it just gets more actionable and actionable as you go. We will link to my favorite reads from Gretchen in the show notes as well for you to check out. But my girlfriend Sarah and I, if you have listened to BFF Chat ever, she pops on here every once in a while, my best friend. Me and Sarah, we did a Happiness Project course with Gretchen Rubin last year. It was really nice. It was very, there was a lot of space. It was just a lot of homework, a lot of like video modules, and we really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I feel like if I was going to pitch this, I probably should have done it sooner because you have to sign up before January or in January. So I don't know if it's open now, but it's a year-long project, just like The Happiness Project was a year-long project for her. And in January of that challenge, she asks you to start thinking about what your personal commandments are. And this is ultimately a list that she assigns to you to try to figure out over the space of that full year that you are going to be engaging in her Happiness Project. And it was really cool. It was like, whoa, yeah. I could have a list of my own commandments. That sounds amazing. And you start like getting ahead of yourself and, I bet I can come up with all 12 right now. Okay, great. Then you come up with 12. But as you go through life and experiences and things, these different mantras and these different phrases and these different feelings and these different pieces of advice continue to occur to you. And you go back and you tweak the list and you're like, oh, I like this. Oh, this can go. I feel like this is really it. And by the end of the year, you might have what you feel like is a list of 12 ideas that really fully shape who you want other people to see you for. And I just thought it was one of the coolest exercises I've done personally in recent memory. And that is what I want to share with you today. How have I become unapologetically myself? Well, I just made a little list because I just love lists of the things that I would consider to be my personal commandments. And when I look at it, I can definitely say, yes, this is who I'm going to be today. Yes, this is the reminder that I needed when I have those obstacles occur to me today. This is what I need as a reminder. Anytime I would hear a phrase, I would write it down. It would in my bullet journal, in my phone, and I would consider it. I would simmer on it. And if it kept popping up in my brain frequently, I knew that that was one that was really going to make the commandment list for me. So what's really fun is, again, like at the end of 2019, feeling like it was a really, really good list. And then also you go into 2020, you look at your goals, you look at some of the things that you feel like you need to improve upon. And I even kind of refreshed it for the new year. I don't know that you're supposed to refresh your commandments for a new year, but I feel like we continue to change as we go forward through life. And it's okay to continue to make it feel like you've got the most relevant thing in front of you that describes who you are. We can evolve, and so can our commandments. Here's how I think of it. Each of these little mantras or phrases have resonated with me at a point in time, so much so that each of them, not all together, but individually, I could literally imagine being tattooed on my wrist so that I would always see that reminder. It would be right there in front of me. Now, that would only be the case if I were a tattoo person. I am not a tattoo person, unfortunately. I have thought which one is my favorite. Maybe I'll go get like a henna version and see if it's something I would want permanently in my life. But I don't really feel like I need to, but that is what I want you to envision. Like if each of these could have 12 different wrists that you always have on you, and you liked having things tattooed on your wrist, and you wanted that thing to be in front of you, I feel like that's what makes the cut when you put it on your list of commandments. So they're going to sound and look different to everyone. But I thought one of the most helpful ways for you to see how I'm unapologetically me is for me to share my 12 personal commandments and really hear the thought process that went into coming up with this list. All right, without further ado, here's my list of potential tattoos of the future. I love how that tangent just like kind of went somewhere. I don't know. I hope that visual made sense to you. Here are my 12 personal commandments. Number 1, be here now. I really wanted something to continue to remind me to be present. With having such a tragic occurrence in my family happen in the last 18 months, you really are reminded how precious life is. And we say it all the time. And we also think, nothing bad can happen to us, but wow, isn't life great? We should totally be present. It's so hard to really get it until you get it. You've got to really have something that makes you shake a little bit to your core. But I'm hoping that the more people who have had that happen to them, that talk to people who haven't and say to be present and to enjoy life, that we can do a better job of encouraging others to do that. To me, be here now is the instant reminder that I need to get out of my head, stop thinking about the task I have to do in half an hour or 3 hours or 3 weeks from now, and to just focus on the fact that my hands are on this table. I am facing a microphone. I am trying not to get too close to it because I'm a little sick and I don't want to give it to you. I'm just kidding. Honestly, it's because I've been getting a little loud on the microphone. I'm trying to be cognizant of that. But I am present in the fact that what I'm sharing with you is so important to me right now. I'm literally excited. And being a content creator can be hard sometimes. And you just have to make the content sometimes. And it's not always exciting, but I'm genuinely excited right now. And I want to fully feel that moment. To me, be here now is like looking at point A and point B, and I am sitting on the line in between. Because whatever is happening right now may not be where I was or where I'm going. It just is. That's my first commandment. Number 2, control the controllable. I love this one. I say this all the time. I've probably tweeted it 50 billion times. Like this one, I actually probably don't even need the tattoo. I remember it really, really well. This is just a resonating thing for me because I read the book The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday every morning, and I'm actually rereading it again for the second. It's another thing I've only been doing since 2019. Yes, but I did read it every single day of 2019, and now I'm rereading that same book every day in 2020. And the Stoicism mentality is very much probably going to resonate through some of my other commandments as well. But it is all about the fact that everything is how you see it. And that's it. And you can control that. You can control the controllable. And the only controllable thing is how you see something or what you think about it or how you react to it. So that's why control the controllable is important to me. My third commandment is to take your time. Take your time, Amy. Take your time. Okay, like, first of all, can you even listen to this podcast on 1.5 or 2 times? No, because you wouldn't be able to understand me. I talk too much. I talk too fast. And part of that is I think stemming, this is super deep, y'all, if you're fast talkers, but it sometimes stems from a mentality of scarcity because you think you won't be able to get your words out. You think someone's going to cut you off. You think someone's going to steal the moment. You think that you're not going to be given your chance. You think it's passing you by and you better hurry up. I have done this so much in my life. The way I talk, the way I walk. I have been accused of running places I didn't even know I was running. I was literally just walking at my normal pace. I hurry. I get out of people's way. I don't take my time. And especially at this moment in my life, I'm not trying to be like full of myself, but I am very much in charge of a lot of the things going on in my life. Like, I'm in charge. I don't have any kids who are checking me. I have to balance with my husband, but I am the leader of my company and I work with my team who is dependent on me getting things done. And I respect everyone's time, but I am much more likely to not respect my own. And I will hurry up for anybody that I think I am making wait. And actually, it's okay for me to just take my time. Ultimately, I'm much more likely to not trip and fall or accidentally run into the corner when I'm running up the stairs, or to just have something occur to me, or to actually be here now. Everything ends up kind of going back to the original commandment. So take your time is one that every time I see it, I smile to myself like, girlfriend, take a breath, okay? That is one of the ones that that is a definitely, girl, you need to tattoo this one. This one needs to be fresh in your memory all the time. My fourth commandment is it's either a hell yes or no. It just literally says hell yes in quotes or no. And again, I think this has to do with a lot of circumstances I've built into my life. I am going after the life that I want, and a lot of things that I do are based on the fact that I said hell yes to them. I know that this is probably the most I've ever said HE double hockey sticks on a freaking piece of content, but like, that's just what it is. It's not yes or no. It's hell yes or no. Like, that's it. I'm not saying yes to something that doesn't make me super pumped, even if it's Netflix and chill with my husband, who I haven't seen because we've been working our butts off or whatever the case, right? Is it a hell yes or is it a no? Number 5 is no scorekeeping. I love, love, love this advice because it is so easy for us to get caught up in this. We are always keeping score. We are always tit for tat. We are never controlling the controllable, and we are looking for the things and the case studies that we can use to advocate for our argument. And when we score keep, well, why would I do that for them? They don't do it for me. Or why would I buy them a birthday gift? They didn't buy one for me. When you do that, you're getting nowhere fast. I really like this tip when I think about the people who need guidance in learning good networking and connection building skills. It's too hard to think that you can just connect with somebody and not ask anything of them, not expect anything of them, and it's okay. You're building that relationship. Or if you are constantly outreaching and helping people, I want to help you. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And then thinking, how come they never ask me what I need? Well, they must not be a valuable connection. That's not true. The more you spend time scorekeeping, the less time you are genuinely building real relationships. So this goes with both networking and your immediate family, okay? Quit the tit for tat. Quit the scorekeeping because you're not winning any argument. You can't change a person. They change themselves. So simply adding up all the points on your side isn't making anything happen. Do something different. And that's why number 6 is action over reaction. This is sort of a combination of things. Action is just a word that is reminiscent of me in general, thus the take your time thing. Like, girls always take an action over here, right? But action over reaction is also a testament to the fact that we can simply react to things, but that is not controlling the controllable. And again, everything is what we think it is. So if something is good, it is good. If something is bad, it is bad. We decided that. Okay, it's raining outside. Is that good or bad to you? Say it out loud. You probably said something different than somebody else, right? You think it's bad. I don't mind the rain. I'm inside right now. It's kind of making me feel chill while I'm making this podcast right now. We all have different feelings. That's all they are. They are our feelings. We are not our feelings. We are not even our thoughts. We need to choose the action over the reaction so that we don't let the reaction cloud our energy and our space for what we can be doing instead. If you spend your whole life and time reacting to what's going on, you're never really truly doing anything yourself. That's why that's a really important one to me. Number 7, because 7 is my lucky number, Sharpie your calendar. You knew the calendar was going to show up in this list, right? So I love this one because obviously, put everything on the calendar, put everything on the calendar. If you need to do something, it goes on the calendar. Put it on the calendar. But I put Sharpie your calendar because I also believe that when you say you're going to do something, when you said hell yes to something, you're going to show up for it. Sure, things happen, things get rescheduled, they get moved around. Ideally, you Sharpied that in, it's happening. When you Sharpie your calendar, you prove the type of person that you are. It's somebody who is in, makes good on their commitments, and shows up. And a lot of times we might find ourselves sharpieing things into the calendar that we're not stoked about, like having to go to our 9-to-5 that we don't enjoy. That's okay. I'm going to do my job because I said I wanted this job. I'm going to do it. But we can always learn from ourselves. Hey, look, I reported to that job for 3 years. I did my best work there for 3 years. I tried really, really hard. And now what's next? Doing that, proving to yourself you have the commitment level and the consistency to do that is huge. So Sharpie your calendar. Don't just calendar block, Sharpie it in. Of course, I'm like a Google Calendar girl. So, it's all really just like make believe. Number 8, stop romanticizing. This is the one that I think would look the coolest as a tattoo. like if it were a real thing, it would definitely be like this flowery cursive font. And there would just be like the faintest, not super defined, but faintest reflection of a stop sign, right? Stop romanticizing. I'm very good at this. This is how I actually think of my perfectionism. I don't think of it so much as everything being perfect, but I romanticize why something needs to continue or be the way that it is. And then I look at it and go, okay, stop romanticizing. What would this look like if it were simpler? Okay. And that really helps me get outside of myself and that uber perfectionism issue that I do tend to have. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear about that. Make sure you come over to Instagram or Twitter and tell me if stop romanticizing is your tattoo of choice also, because I feel like this resonates with a lot of us who are perfectionists, but are so much perfectionists, have a hard time saying that we are perfectionists. Like, if you're really a perfectionist, you're like, okay, I can't say I'm a perfectionist because I'm not perfect, but darn it, I'm trying. Like, I actually kind of grapple with that. So stop romanticizing is more of where I feel like my head is. Number 9, act the way you want to feel. I love this one. I got this one from Gretchen's list directly. I love it because if you've ever been one of those people who has been accused many times of being in a bad mood when you're actually just not in a bad mood or in a good mood, you're just kind of there, you will feel my frustration on this. This is from having chronic RBF. You know what that means if you have it, okay? It's not a real condition, but it kind of is. And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to cuss. So if you have RBF like me, then you forget to show a little bit more emotion than you usually do. But not only that, it's easy to let the reactions and the real bad emotions get to us in a moment and be upset about the fact that you're upset in a moment. And for those occasions, I like to think of this phrase, act the way you want to feel. It, to me, is a more positive self-reminder than for some stranger on the street to tell me to smile. First of all, that's out. Like if you tell me to smile, it's like telling me to relax. Like now I just want to do the complete opposite. But I do like to tell myself, act the way you want to feel. If you want other people to feel happiness from you right now and you genuinely want to feel happiness right now, act like it. Number 10, this is sort of the sister to take your time, the very, very close twin sister of take your time. This commandment is fill the space. It originally was phrased as take up space to just kind of give you more of an idea, like take up the space around you. But I kind of wanted to make it feel more approachable. There was something aggressive sounding about it. So fill the space is where my head goes when I think of all the times I'm feeling small or when I think I'm in other people's way, similar to take your time. When I feel like, I have all my stuff is spread out. It's okay. Spread your stuff out. I will go to a coffee shop, no kidding, sit at a table for 4 because there's nobody else there. And I love the fact that there's so much space, but I will still make sure that none of my things go outside of a quarter of that table, just so I don't look like the obnoxious person sitting at a 4-person table. Why? Why is that? Why are you doing that, Amy? You have a laptop, an iPad, a bullet journal, your phone, a phone charger, and you got work to do, honey. Use that table. Fill that space. I notice this about myself a lot. I try to move things into smaller places, and that is a testament to being a little bit afraid of being fully me. So in order for me to be fully me, I need to fill my space. Fill the space. Number 11 is no X's. Okay. Not the X's that you're thinking of. No X's, although I guess that's a pretty good rule, a rule of thumb for most people. No X's. Keep the X's out of your life. But these X's that I'm talking about are explaining, excuses, and expectations. No X's. Over-explaining is something we do chronically as women, and it needs to stop. If I ask you for something and I am well within my right to ask you for that thing, I do not need to explain myself. I just need the thing. I learned a lot about this working at a law firm, which was heavily male employed, and picking up on some of the things that my female superiors were learning for themselves in the workplace. So don't over-explain. Just get it done. No excuses. I mean, it's so easy to spill out an excuse because you're thinking like, oh my God, there's a perfectly good reason why A, I'm late, or B, I didn't see that detail that you need from me, or C, anything in the world you can think of, we've got excuses for days. And it's exhausting because all the person who is asking you for whatever it is or holding you accountable on something or whatever, all they want to know is it a yes or a no? Like, did you do it or did you not do it? Where is it? Where is it not? What can I expect from this? No excuses. If you just spit an excuse out, you just filled space in a negative way that nobody really has time for, and it doesn't control the controllable. You are not controlling the controllable when you deliver an excuse. You're just giving an arbitrary reason why it could potentially not have happened. Who is that doing anything for? You actually spent more time on something that is counteractive to the thing that needs to get done, apparently. So no excuses and no expectations. This is an arguable one for many people. I personally believe in no expectations. If you have high expectations, you're going to be disappointed every single day, every single minute, every single hour, every single person. Tons of disappointment. If you have low expectations, that's just sort of depressing if you think about it. But if you have no expectations, if you just say, this is what it is, and you ask the world for it, or you ask a person for it, or you look for opportunities to make it happen, and something good comes of it, awesome. It's like a pleasant surprise. But if you expect somebody's going to do something when you ask them to do it, Now, there is, again, it's arguable. Are you somebody's direct report at the job? You should probably do what they ask you to do. But having very high expectations of someone, especially when they don't have a clue what they're doing, or they haven't been taught, or they just have no ability to figure it out on their own because it's just not something that's Googleable, then that's a crazy expectation. But when you have no expectations of somebody or of things in general or of occurrences or of events, you're much more likely to walk out of it pleasantly surprised, happy, and able to actually be here now in that moment and enjoy it. This really goes back to no scorekeeping, because when you're scorekeeping, you are holding somebody to an expectation. And especially when those expectations have not been communicated, who's supposed to make good on this? Like, that just does not make any sense. So I've just come to a point in my life where no expectations has served me much greater than maybe expectations or high expectations or putting all your eggs in a basket just because everybody else said to do it. I highly recommend you step away from that. So no X's, no explaining, no excuses, no expectations. And finally, my last commandment, because in another life, I really do think I would be a comedian. Not in this life, though. I think I'm like kind of funny, but like not professionally funny. Funny enough to laugh at myself. Number 12 is yes and. This is a really big one. This is another one where I go, oh yeah, I could definitely get that tattooed. It's so much easier to say but. Okay, yes, we can butt all over town. We can butt to everybody we know and love and everybody we talk to. But we're going to make people feel a certain kind of way, right? Because that's when you start a sentence, or even you're in the middle of, you get to the real part of the sentence. Everybody's like waiting for the but, right? If you never say it, there's never that drop in feeling. And why let somebody anticipate that? Why would somebody expect that of you? That sucks. Yes, and is a very special phrase, because I think we all feel like we need to protect things and we need to put people in check and we need to let people know who we are unapologetically ourselves. But saying yes and could be a softer way of delivering the blow, depending on what the situation is. You don't want to be unclear and say yes to something that's not a hell yes. But in a conversation that maybe you don't completely agree with somebody and you want the terms to still be very cordial, yes and can still be a really coaching phrase that can get you to the end of that scenario without ending up with any animosity. This phrase is something that I still have to work on a lot, and I love having it on this list because I'm constantly looking at it like, how can I use yes and today? Like, how can I get a little bit better with how I'm communicating with people today and make them feel like they are heard, even if that's not something I'm entertaining at this time. That's what yes and looks like for me. When I look at this list, I feel like I can go into every day knowing what's important to me and how I keep living the life I want. No one is going to just give it to me. I have to be willing to ask for it and follow through. So having this set of rules, no matter how loose they are, will help guide me through that minutia of every day that's going to distract me from who I am. And I really need that coaching just as much as everybody else. So hopefully that's something that resonates with you and maybe you come up with your own list. Here are a couple of honorable mentions I wanted to share. These were phrases and commandments that I thought about or just decided to cut from last year, just phrases that I wrote down throughout the year that I potentially entertained for my commandments. Lighten up. Don't talk crap. Go with your gut. Speak through action. Remove judgment. Be 5 minutes early. Spend out. 2-drink maximum. I will get back to you. Leave the past. Ask for help. Identify the problem. Better than perfect. Attract who you are. Be appreciative. What commandment did you love, or what did you come up with while we were talking about this that you could potentially use to start your own list of personal commandments? Maybe something that you can build over the space of a year, or maybe more, or maybe less. Come and share it on our latest Instagram at Details Podcast, and we are going to be choosing somebody who shares one of their personal commandments to win a copy of Good Morning, Good Life. We'll get that out to the winner and DM them for their address and all that fun stuff. We love giving away books because we need people going after the life they want. That is all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I'll see you next Tuesday. Cheers.